पवित्रं चरितं यस्या पवित्रं जीवनं तथा पवित्रता स्वरूपिण्यै तस्यै कुर्मो नमो नमः. Whose character is all pure and whose life is similarly pure, who is the embodiment of purity divine, that shining goddess I salute again and again. Good morning. Today, the title of our talk is Seeing Through the Eyes of the Holy Mother. Seeing clearly is very important in our lives. If the vision is not right, then every decision in our life can go wrong. And if the decision is wrong, we make our own life a hell, horrible. Life becomes a pit of sorrow. But if we could see all the events of life properly, if we try to understand each person, then maybe this life would have become a celebration. Almost all of you have driven here. Would you be able to drive properly today if your windshield of the car was not clean? Or if there is a cataract in the eye, can we see properly? So it is very important to see clearly in our life. By seeing here, we mean understanding. Many are the ways in which a great soul differs from an ordinary individual. One of these many ways has reference to the mental attitude to doings, to the manner of viewing objects, to the mode of relationship with things big and small. The personality of a great soul is all ripe in every part of being, ripe in every moment of existence. An ordinary human being like us, if at all, experiences only occasional ascents to levels of magnanimity, such infrequent rises being followed by almost immediate descents to planes of the matter of fact and the small-minded. In other words, the great soul is always and ever right-visioned and full-visioned. A partial view or an erroneous outlook or an incomplete picture is something of which the great soul is simply not capable. On the other hand, an ordinary individual's perception is almost always superficial. What we may call an inspired insight is the distinguishing mark of the great ones, whose eyes see much more and much further and more penetratingly than ordinary eyes can encompass. The golden quality of superior perception and heightened reaction was one of the distinctions of Sri Sharada Devi, the Holy Mother. Her possession of this distinction to see properly is indeed intriguing to us of today when we remember she was village born and village bred. That of schooling or formal education she had nothing, and that her life was lived within the narrow confines of home-keeping women's daily round of domestic serving and routine chores. But she overcame all these limitations with her inner brilliance. Let us consider her marital relationship with Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Sharada Devi was only 18 years old when she came to Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar after spending her childhood days in the village Jairambati. When Sharada Devi reached Dakshineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna welcomed him wholeheartedly. The biographer of Sri Sharada Devi, Swami Gambhiranandaji, wrote about those days, the training of Sharada Devi. He wrote, but in this, when Sri Ramakrishna welcomed Sri Sharada Devi, he was not guided by the requirements of any commonplace conjugal relationship. He rather took his stand on the spiritual relationship subsisting between the teacher and his disciple, or that between the universal mother and her votary. And thereby he brought down to the world a new value by assimilating which humanity could move higher up. During this time, the master instructed his wife about everything ranging from such worldly affairs as domestic duties, dealing with relatives, good manners, and the need for adaptability under varying conditions, to spiritual practices like religious music, the bhajan, meditation, service, and self-abnegation. From her talks with him, the mother formed a clear conception of the aim and purpose of human life. There is an interesting conversation that happened during this time between Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother. We sometimes surprised to see that kind, how a 18-year-old village girl could utter that kind of word. Sri Ramakrishna, he asked once, by way of examining her, well, my dear, have you come to drag me down to the worldly level? Sharada Devi replied without a moment's hesitation. Remember, 18 years girls reply, no, why should I drag you to worldly ways? I have come to help you in your chosen path. It is amazing how an 18-year-old girl who grew up in the village could say such a big thing. Her wifehood, her being the life partner in the most extended and basic meaning of that term, we call Sahadharmini. Sahadharmini literally means who shares the equal responsibility of fulfilling the life mission of her husband. Sharada Devi celebrated it in an unparalleled manner. For years, she lived with him as a most devoted wife and as an immaculate nun, absorbed in the sole task, that is pati seva, service to her husband, and practicing intense spiritual disciplines as instructed by him. And when he passed away in 1886, he lived on for more than 3 decades, still doing same service to her husband in the form of consolidating and expanding the life mission of the great master, Sri Ramakrishna. So that was her approach to their marital relationship. To call Sri Sharada Devi unschooled and uneducated is therefore in a way meaningless. Sharada Devi's life so successfully embodies the ideas upon which educational institutions such as school and universities are founded. Proper education broadens the mind, teaches one to feel the joys and sorrows of other members of the society. We see this ability to understand the happiness and sorrow of others in the life of an ideal mother. A little child, a little kid, may want to verbalize their problems and pain but cannot express it. Because they can't. But a mother can understand their difficulties with only a sensitive heart without relying on those imperfectly uttered words. Sarada Devi treated each person with compassion and understanding because she knew what was in their heart. So upon visiting her, all the visitors, used to be all satisfied and joyful when they returned to their respective home. That is why they spontaneously, on their own, accepted her as the mother of the world. Sister Nivedita, a disciple of Swami Vivekananda, who had many opportunities to study the Holy Mother at close quarters, has said that Sri Sarada Devi's stateliness of courtesy and great open mind was as wonderful as her sainthood. It would be wise for us to consider this allusion to the Holy Mother's openness of mind. Even the best of men suffer from minds closed and blocked in one respect or another, because it stems from ignorance or prejudice, narrowness or perversity. But the Holy Mother's mind was broad as the heavens and helped her to understand aright every emotion of the human heart, even in respect of persons whose language she did not know and whose culture and upbringing were wholly different. We are talking about Sister Christine, who came from US. And she was, as per I remember, was a German. Sister Nivedita from UK, England, and Josephine MacLeod, Sarah Bull, they came from US. So they were just surprised to see Holy Mother. And you may remember one day Holy Mother asked them, please explain the procedure of your wedding ceremony and all those, that prayers and whatever else. And they are talking in English, but Holy Mother could understand what they are saying. So that's why Sister Nivedita told that I wrote that. So it was really wonderful. So she was verily a universal mother. Her sympathy was as boundless as infinity. In fact, its flow was not limited to the human realm, but extended to birds and beasts, and even to things inanimate. It was not for nothing that this lifelong virgin got the appellation of Sri Ma, or Sri Ma, the Blessed Mother. She was just perfect. She was perfect in understanding the inconsistency of his child's character. She could even fix them perfectly. At the same time, she knew perfectly how to give due status to the qualified. Actually, the perfection, which is the ripeness of the highest soul culture, is at all times and in every circumstance perfection. Even its most casual, unstudied, unguarded expression is still perfection. Whatever she spoke on whatever occasion, whatever thing had a deep philosophy in it. It was one morning, the Holy Mother, it happened in Holy Mother's residence in Jairambati. The mother was doing some oil rubbing on her body, and someone in the courtyard was engaged in sweeping with a broomstick. You know, I think all of you know this kind of thing, this story. When work was over, the sweeper threw the broomstick aside. I want to explain the philosophy behind it. That is the important. So, when the work was over, the sweeper threw the broomstick aside. This drew the mother's attention. She said with feeling, "What is this? You have thrown the broomstick with such disrespect. When the work is done, it takes the same length of time to put it gently in a corner as it does to throw it aside. One should not trifle with a thing though it may be very insignificant. If you respect a thing, the thing also respects you. Will you not again need the broomstick? From that standpoint also, it deserves to be treated with respect. Even a broomstick should be treated with respect. One should perform even an insignificant work with respect. That is the line. It is not about broomstick. When you are doing insignificant work, according to you, it should be done with respect. The careless sweeper who drew on his or her head with this sermon must surely have been struck with astonishment, wondering if such a commonplace thing as a broom could contain so much philosophy in it. Perhaps he or she did not understand that the mother was utilizing the occasion for the preaching of a few wholesome lessons to humanity. This meticulous concern for sweetness and light, how to talk, and light, the wisdom, in every exertion was evidently inborn in Sri Sarada Devi. But it perhaps was also the result of the training she perceived from her great artist husband, Sri Ramakrishna. And really, he was an artist. Sometimes Swami Akhandananda wrote, we have seen many times that Sri Ramakrishna was visiting the Kali temple. And when he entered into the shrine, so some flower was kept facing that side, some flowers that side. He used to arrange in proper order. And maybe the sari that the Divine Mother had is placing it properly. So, we are told in her biography that while Sri Ramakrishna helped his wife to ascend to high states of spiritual ecstasy and vision, he did not forget to educate her in regard to secular details of everyday life. We have told already how to, the way of rolling wick for the lamp, dressing vegetables, how to cut, making betel rolls, etc. The master was a stickler for perfect doing. He would not put up with slipshod implementation. Before that incident happened, when she came at Dakshineshwar, when she was 18 years old, just 4 years before, once she got opportunity to live with Sri Ramakrishna for some time at Kamarpukur. Then this incident happened. So this incident also, many of you already know, I think. So Sri Ramakrishna had some stomach trouble. Sometimes he used to come from Dakshineshwar to Kamarpukur mainly on rainy seasons, because it was not healthy, that water, Dakshineshwar water, for his stomach. So he used to visit Kamarpukur during that time. So, as he had some stomach trouble and would himself give direction to the Holy Mother early in the morning about the dishes he wished to have at lunch time. Because they have to prepare all those things, cut the vegetables, arrange the spices, all those things. And the Holy Mother would carry out his instructions faithfully. Once, she found that a certain spice to be used with the vegetables was not available at the house. So she reported her sister-in-law, means the wife of Rameshwar, the elder brother of Sri Ramakrishna, and who advised the cooking to be done without that spice. It's not a big issue. We can cook without that spice. It is not an important thing. But Sri Ramakrishna overheard her advice, which suggested a matter-of-fact compromising solution to a problem. This is the point. And at once protested, saying sweetly, "How is that? If you do not have the spice, get it from the market. It is not right to cook the curry without the spice necessary for it. I sacrificed the rich dishes of Dakshineshwar temple and came here for the flavor of that spice." and you want to deprive me of it? The sister-in-law who had suggested such an easy way out now felt ashamed and sent for the spice. This insistence on the due feeling in every detail in a process is not to be regarded as an enslavement to desire, but should be taken to be only a passion for completeness and fulfillment which we invariably find in nature and in the great geniuses of mankind. Another incident is there. It's about now basket, and it happened that the broomstick incident happened at Jairampati, and it happened at Udbodhan, basket episode. One day, a devotee came to Holy Mother's abode with a basket of fruits for offering. The fruits were received and taken in, and then the devotee wished to know what he was to do with the basket. He asked the monks. The monks at the place told him to throw out the basket in the lane. Who recently visited Udbodhan, they can understand, they can relate. So, but in those days the lane was much narrow. The Holy Mother, who was then taking rest on her bed, heard their words and at once got up and went to the porch and looked at the lane, and then feelingly told a woman devotee who was with her, "Look there, they have asked him to throw away such a nice basket." It does not matter for them in the least. They are all monks and totally unattached. But we cannot allow such waste. We could have utilized the basket at least for keeping the peelings of the vegetables. She sent some to bring up the basket from the lane. The redeemed basket was washed and kept for future use. This is not an example, again, philosophy. This is not an example of a mere housewife's desire to store. We have a desire to store. So it is not that instance. It is an illustration of a great heart's urge to bring fulfillment to a thing by helping it to function in its ordained way. And the Holy Mother was an ideal mate to Sri Ramakrishna, who, in the words of Sister Nivedita, was a great lover of order and could not endure squalor. It is Nivedita's word. And notwithstanding severe asceticism, loved grace and beauty and gentle dignity of bearing. Despite extreme asceticism, he valued, that is Sri Ramakrishna, always valued grace, beauty, and the gentle dignity of demeanor. He was a great lover of order and could not stand filth or nuisance. How little consideration and regard we have for a cat. There are a long cat episode in Holy Mother's life, but we can mention one or two. How little it is just a thing of no value to us. And yet a cat sometimes not only looks at a king, but also wins royal favors. We read in the biography of Sri Ramakrishna of how once in the days of his god madness, he heard a cat mewing as he was about to make the food offering to the deity in the Kali shrine, and how, instead of driving away the feline intruder as any other priest would have done, he tenderly talked to it, saying, "Mother, art you eager to eat? Here thou mayest have it." One day, in the courtyard of Sri Sharada Devi's dwelling place, a cat was lying. It was the pet of Radhu, a niece of the mother. A woman devotee who was there playfully caressed the cat with her foot. In the course of the caressing, he placed the foot on the cat's head. The Holy Mother started on seeing this and said, "Oh my child, what are you doing?" The head is the place of the guru. One should not touch the head with the foot. Salute the cat. The woman understood and was grateful. I never knew it, mother. She replied, today I have learned a lesson. Now the philosophy. And not only she, but we too, of a later day, learn from this incident a lesson in reverence and humility and decorum, and in the proprieties of human behavior towards animal species, a behavior founded not on mere condescending kindness to animals, but on respect for fauna. This is respect. Again, another incident. Whenever the cats, I'm skipping one incident. So the dogs may feel, that neglected. So many, but there are many incidents regarding dogs also. So they should not feel deprived in Sri Ramakrishna's life. Whenever the cats in the mother's house indulged in acts of stealing and an inmate was displeased and angry, the Holy Mother would restore peace and cheer by saying, to steal is the nature of cats, my boy. It was Gyan Maharaj. Who will feed them fondly? But still, despite the affection the cats received from the mother, they sometimes got punished by others for their misdeeds, and this pained the mother. Once, when the mother had to leave for Calcutta, of course leaving the cats behind at Jairambati, she ensured the cat's protection before starting from home. She summoned a brahmacharin who was not over fond of cats, and after directing him to feed the cats with cooked rice and not just let them go about to others' houses for food and make the neighbors abuse and criticize their keepers, told him solemnly, look here, my boy, don't beat the cats, for even in them am I. This was enough to transform the cat disliker. He no more lifted a finger against the cats. The solemnity of the mother's utterance helped him to a new vision. Again, respect for the fauna, nothing else. But there are other side of the story. We should maintain a balanced view. Sometimes it happened, there are two episodes, cat with Sri Ramakrishna. But anyhow, so I should add that one, because in library question answer session, the question may arise. So once M was reporting Sri Ramakrishna. Such is my mental condition is sometimes a cat comes to steal something for my plate that I'm eating from the plate. So I could not drive it away. Sri Ramakrishna immediately told, what is harm if you hit that lightly? There is no harm. If you beat that cat lightly to just drive it away, so there is no harm. So Master Sri Ramakrishna immediately understood it was the weakness of mind of M. So it is. They are not talking about that weakness of the mind, but this brahmachari was disliker of cat. M was not. I think you have understood what I want to say. So you have to maintain the balance. So in this regard, we remember one story, and it is a parable of Sri Ramakrishna. It was about Ganesha, the son of Shiva and Parvati. So when he was a boy, the Ganesha scratched a cat with his nail. So he did this in boyish fun, and went home forgetting it. At home, he was pained to see a mark of scratch on the cheek of his mother, Parvati. How did you happen to get this ugly scar on your cheek, mother? He asked. Parvati answered, why, this is the work of your hand. It is the scratch of your own nail. Ganesh inquired in wonder, "How can it be, mother? I do not remember to have scratched you at any time." Parvati told him, "My dear, how forgetful you are. Did you not scratch a cat this morning?" It was the story. With Gyan Maharaj also happened like that. In later days, so the disliker of cat, many that devotees saw Gyan Maharaj is that buying fish, small fish from the market to feed the cats. So it was for mother. So when he was not serving the cats, he was serving the mother. That was the idea. When we read these events in Holy Mother's life or study her advice to various people, we have to remember that these events and sermons took place in the context of the Indian subcontinent, which is far different from the present time and place. So we have to give more importance than the facts to the advice found in it, and then we have to apply these teachings in our life, judging the time and place and person. The Holy Mothers, we are talking about some beggar, the relation with that important part of her society and Holy Mother, how he react to the incidents. The Holy Mother's attitude to helping and serving the poor and the needy was of a noble pattern. To her vision, the beggar who begged for alms was asking for his just due. The well-to-do should therefore regard the beggar not as a nuisance but a lawful claimant. When once a beggar called and the monks at the place felt annoyed and scolded him, saying, "Get away, don't bother us now," the Holy Mother was sad and remarked, "Just look at that. They have sent him away just because they would have to leave their own work to bring him alms." See, that what Sri Ramakrishna told to M. So they could understand their mind, why they are saying. There is no principle, it is for the laziness. They do not want to leave their seat. That is the reason. Even this little thing they couldn't do, how lazy of them. They couldn't give a handful of alms to a beggar. Is it right to deprive a person of his or her just due? And she added, "Look at this vegetable peel. Even this is the cow's due. One must place it before the cow." It must be noted that the stress here is on the person approaching the cow and offering the peel to her. Throwing away the peel on the dust heap and letting the cow find it or not is not the right thing. We have our duty to the beggar, who too has his or her rights in society. It seemed that mother's compassion was more for those whose well-being no one inquires. Once, mother was staying at Kashi, Benares. A girl, a poor beggar, got a guava in alms, came to visit her, and gave it to her very shyly. A poor girl, in that bhiksha, in that begging, she got on guava. She had a lot of hesitation in mind, didn't know what the Holy Mother would say. How many great devotees, they are wealthy, many rich people, they used to visit Holy Mother and used to offer precious thing to Sri Ramakrishna for the worship of Sri Ramakrishna, for the use of Holy Mother. So there was a lot of fear in the mind of this poor girl if the Holy Mother did not accept it. But Mother received that little fruit with such reverence that it eased her sorrows. She said, "Ah, give it to me, my dear." Only one guava. Saying this, he touched the guava on her forehead and said, "Alms is very holy. Thakur used to love it very much. It's a nice guava. I will eat it now." Seeing her mother's response, the girl began to cry, only saying, "I am your ordinary beggar, daughter. you are so kind to me. Swami Sharadeshananda, who himself was a great monk, had the privilege to serve Mother for some time, observed Mother very closely. He recorded. He was a great monk, Sharadeshananda ji, Gopesh Maharaj. Whenever he wrote, he observed Mother, how the psychology behind it. Whenever the mother would hear about the sorrows and afflictions of somebody, she would at once be overwhelmed with great emotion. Seeing the upsurge of her sorrow, the hearts of those near her would melt. The news of a sudden death or some other similar calamity would charm the tender heart of the mother, and she would not be able to control herself. She was Vishwamata, we call universal mother. It is not a word. She could feel. When people overcome by great afflictions and sorrows came to the mother for the hope, for getting her sympathy and consolation, the mother would draw their sorrows into herself and actually suffer them. She made their hearts lighter, removing the poison by drinking it. We call Nilakantha. So that is the psychology. It is, we read only story. Shiva drank their sorrow. It is that remaining story is that only, it is a that presentation of the philosophy only, how to present in to make it understandable to everyone. So it is sorrow that Shiva drank it. That is Nilakantha. So the mother would draw their sorrows into herself and actually suffer them. She made their hearts lighter, removing the poison by drinking it. I shall try to give here description of how the mother sometimes completely lose herself and cry like a helpless little girl when her tender heart would get affected by the sorrows and sufferings of others. The mother was then staying at the Jagadamba ashram in Kualpara. She was the mother to all the neighbors, the poor, the destitute, and the untouchable. Whoever came to her, had a darshan of her, was received with sweet words, got prasada, the food offerings, and had his or her heart filled with joy and peace by a touch of her love and good wishes. The son of a widow had died. The bereaved mother came to the Holy Mother, and as she was talking to her about her son, started crying loudly because of the grief that welled up in her heart. The mother took her sorrow within herself and, feeling with her, started crying very loudly. Hearing that loud crying, the inmates of the ashrama, all the members, other members of the ashrama, came running there. They were all speechless, seeing the mother crying so pathetically. What happened? As if it was she who had just lost her son and was overcome by sorrow. After some time, the pang of the sorrow of the bereaved mother abated somewhat, and she wiped the tears from her eyes, made pranam to the mother, and took her leave with a lighter heart. The mother too wiped her eyes, consoled her with sweet words, gave her some prasada, and bade her goodbye, saying, "Come again." If I remember right, Sharadeshananda is writing, if I remember right, the mother gave her a piece of new cloth to Sarada Devi. He got a new cloth also from Sarada Devi. By means of a simple act, the Holy Mother could bring very deep satisfaction to the human heart. And she was also capable of a very generous admiration of heartfelt appreciation. Once, Sri Sharada Devi made a fan with wool and made a present of it to Sister Nivedita. When she came to visit her, perhaps all of you know, he was a disciple of Swami Vivekananda, and he went to India to serve his guru's country. So anyhow, so when she came to visit her mother, once she made a woolen fan for her to give a present. She also told Nivedita, "I made this for you." The sister's happiness knew no bounds. He held the gift to her head and her bosom in reverent acceptance, saying, "How lovely, how beautiful." Sister Nivedita, who saw that incident, they wrote, Sister Nivedita was then as if the happiest child ever that day, receiving a prize so beautiful no child could ever match. She showed the gift to all who were present, remarking with a feeling of having acquired a rare possession, "Look what a lovely thing Mother has made for me." This hearty expression by Sister Nivedita of her joyfulness moved the mother to saying, "See how happy she is with such a simple gift. What a simple faith! She is like a goddess incarnate." So, very subtle thing. Ordinary human being cannot be so joyful, getting a little small thing. So that made mother say that as if she is like a goddess incarnate. So it's a subtle thing, this kind. A short and simple remark of the Holy Mother was often seen to contain a mass of philosophic wisdom and to be able to correct misjudgment. A woman devotee used to frequent Udbodhan, where the mother usually stayed in Calcutta. The woman was the recipient of the mother's love in a generous measure. But unfortunately, her reputation was not good, and the other disciples did not take kindly to her frequent visits to the mother. The mother also was told of this, but she dismissed the objection with this remark: "Many things float in the Ganga, but is the Ganga polluted by them?" Such as this is the viewpoint of the saviors. Because they have a deeper understanding of the soul, they do not use the standard of popular social opinion to judge the personalities of those who seek them out. The Ganga is as open a refuge to the ditch water, and it purifies and amalgamates with its own being, both. The Holy Mother had the vision to spot out gems, even in a dust heap, to recognize merit in the abstract, shorn of its unpleasant setting. Ordinary minds work just the other way and are incapable of enjoying the beauty of a lotus just because it grows in a muddy pond. In front of the mother's house was a colony of workers, a motley crowd of poor folk earning their bread in the mother's house in several ways. One of them, a mean worker, had a mistress with whom he lived. Once this woman happened to be ill rather seriously, and her husband nursed her so well as to get the mother's approbation. The mother told her visitors how he nursed her. "I have never seen the like of it. This is what I call nursing, what I call love." The unholy nature of the bond between the man and the woman found no place in the mother's apperception of the goodness towards the woman. Buddhanandaji wrote very beautifully. Swami Buddhananda, he told the way of teaching of Holy Mother, the ministration of Holy Mother. So he gave one incident that happened in Puri, Puri, near Odisha. There is, perhaps all of you know about the Jagannatha temple, a great Jagannatha temple. The deity is the Jagannatha. So it happened like that. Uh, when the Holy Mother went to Puri, Govinda, Shingari, the family Panda, the family priest, we call Sebayat also, of Balaram Bose, wanted to take her in a palanquin as a mark of regard for the consort of the Guru of Balaram Bose for darshan to the temple of Jagannath. But the Holy Mother forbade him, saying, "Please, do not do that, Govinda. You will go in front of me, showing the way, and I shall go following you like a indigent beggar woman for the darshan of the Lord Jagannath." This is the Holy Mother's attitude. An attitude is life itself, by which she taught how uh, to have the darshan of duty. Sometimes we take some advantage, paying more money or showing our connection with that influential person. You do not know, I am like that. So he showed the way. She showed the way. Sri Ramakrishna said that the Holy Mother was Jnanadayini, the giver of knowledge. How to understand this? For a woman who could hardly sign her name to be a giver of knowledge? Here we can see how which ultimately counts is given, this approach to Jagannath, the Lord of the universe, how unassumingly this lesson is given to all those who would learn. And this approach to God was not a calculated lesson either. He never wanted to show something. It was as it were God's lessening of himself into an approach to man. This is the prophet's way of saving souls. Little men, puny men, proud men, what a tremendous sadhana we do for making ourselves miserable. But simple the path to the ultimate simple. This approach to God, life, and men is really the gift of the Jnanadayini. So subtle is the Holy Mother's spiritual ministration. One day, a devotee went to Holy Mother with a tiny banyan seed and spoke a little botany to her. "Look, Mother, this is even smaller than the seed of the red herb, lal shak we call. From this will spring a giant tree." How strange, he taught little botany. The mother's reply was characteristic. She spoke a little spiritual botany. "Indeed it will," she said. "See, what a tiny seed is the name of God." The Bija mantra. Tiny seed is the name of God. And from it in time will come deep ecstasy, spiritual ecstasy, devotion, divine love, and spiritual communion. Sister Nivedita felt that in Sri Sharada Devi one realized that wisdom and sweetness to which the simplest of women may attain. This quality of the simple being, also the sweet and the wise, is clearly seen in the Holy Mother's every reaction to a situation and every response to a problem. Be the situation ever so perplexing and the problem ever so complex, there was in her something divinely disarming, before which the base and the mean, the confusing and the perverse automatically got dissolved. The air about her had no place for the crooked and the vile. This, of course, is no cause for surprise when we remember what she was. A disciple one asked her, "Are you the mother of all?" "Yes, I am," said she. "Of these dumb beasts as well?" The disciple pursued. "Yes, theirs as well," came her answer. On another occasion, she permitted herself to tell a disciple, "The Master left me behind to manifest the motherhood of God." But in Mother, the guru, the teacher, in Sharada Devi was completely absorbed into the mother in her. Numerous devotees from all strata and of all castes would come to her for spiritual illumination. All would be received with equal affection by the mother. Her spiritual ministrations went on mostly through feeding and serving. Her unique way. Few were those who could serve her. Her life was a long saga of tireless service. Traditionally, gurus are recipients of service, while aspirants are servers. No? The Shishya generally served the guru. From the time she was a mere baby to the last day of her life, when she was literally worshipped by thousands as the Divine Mother incarnate, her life was a ceaseless stream of service, which was an expression of the creative content of desirelessness born of perfect knowledge of the self. I want nothing. Devotees came to her at all hours, and the mother in her was never content until she could receive the aspirant with some refreshment or sumptuous meals. Food had to be taken mostly under her gracious and watchful eyes. Eat before me, in front of me, sit here. One would not feel there was any hardship in spiritual quest. It was all a feast steeped in tender affection. One would not be allowed to remove the leavings and plate after food was taken. You must think about Indian subcontinent. Here we do in our own hand, but there in India, generally mothers do. It is a that expression of affection. Nothing else. You go, I'll do that. There will be someone, mother used to say, don't remove the leavings, keep it there. There will be someone to do all those things. The mother would protest effectively, and that someone was herself, whom Sri Ramakrishna worshipped as the Divine Mother. Even in an atmosphere of compelling orthodoxy, the Holy Mother went out of the way to serve all seekers, or even casual visitors, in the most dedicated way, as she would serve her deity. In that sense, she was a rebellion. If you think about Jairam Bhatti, more than 100 years back. So, I think all the prophets were rebellion. People who had the privilege of living with her had not understood her. Their constant refrain of complaint used to be, you belong to a Brahmin family, about that you are their guru and they your disciples. Why should you remove their leavings after food? This will do their harm. Do you see? I am their mother. If the mother would not wait upon the child, who would? Would be her spontaneous reply. So after the initiation also it happened. When she used to give initiation, he used to show the picture of Sri Ramakrishna. He is your guru. But sometimes the disciple, they are good. But you are giving the mantra, you are my guru. No, I am your mother. So sometimes we called mother is Adi Guru in that sense. The Adi Guru, the first Guru, the teacher is mother. What happened to the child who was the recipient of this love, which was so intense but so unearthly? He suddenly awakened to a new perception, in the center of which stood the mother-teacher symbol of all purity, realization, knowledge, and bliss. Lesser loves of life gradually lost grip over his sensibilities under the impact of that all-devouring love, and he slowly attained a new birth in the womb of purity and unselfishness. He became a soft child fit to enter heaven. प्रसीद मातर विनयेन याचे नित्यं भव स्नेहवती सुतेषु प्रेमैक बिन्दुं चिरदग्ध चित्ते विषिञ्च चित्तं कुरु नः सुशान्तं. Be loving and gracious to thy children, O Mother. We humbly beseech, sprinkle in our hearts arid a drop of love to enjoy peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.